Imagine for just a second that the vast, bustling digital world you interact with every single day is actually a ghost town. Every tweet, every comment, every trending topic you scroll past, what if the vast majority of it isn't coming from humans at all, but from synthetic actors? Well, in this explainer, we're going to unpack one of the most unsettling yet increasingly plausible concepts of our modern digital age. We are looking at what is known as the dead internet theory and exploring how a literal crisis of perception is fundamentally altering our shared reality. I mean, think about your own digital interactions today. When you laughed at a meme, read a product review, or maybe got frustrated by some political argument in a comment section, how sure are you that there was an actual human being on the other side of that screen? We naturally just assume the internet is this crowded room of real, living people. But what if that room has been slowly emptying out, replaced by highly sophisticated algorithms that are just mimicking human behavior? So to really understand what we're facing, we need to define the dead internet theory. Essentially, it's the belief that human activity online has been totally eclipsed by automated bots and synthetic AI-generated content. And this didn't start in academic journals. It actually originated back in 2016 as this fringe creepypasta, basically an internet urban legend. It really gained traction around 2021 on an online forum called Agora Roads Macintosh Cafe, when an anonymous user going by the name Illuminati Pirate published a post claiming the internet was largely fake. For years, people just dismissed this as a tinfoil hat conspiracy. But recently, the data has started to tell a very different and honestly a very chilling story. Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1, Conspiracy Becomes Reality. Let's look at the actual data behind the decay. How exactly does a fringe conspiracy theory make the leap from a paranoid forum post into empirical, undeniable reality? Well, we have to look past the anecdotal weirdness of social media and look directly at the hard traffic data pumping through the web's infrastructure. And just look at this number, 51%. According to the 2024 Imperva Bad Bot report, over half of all web traffic is now automated. Let that sink in for a second. When you look at the total volume of data moving across the internet right now, humans are the minority. And we aren't just talking about benign search engine crawlers indexing websites here. The report notes that nearly a third of all internet traffic is driven by malicious actors, bot operators, fraudsters, and automated attackers. The bots have literally taken the numerical majority. And what's truly concerning is our shrinking capacity to actually tell the difference. What's really interesting about this is a recent Turing test game called Human or Not. Basically, users chat for 2 minutes and then have to guess if their partner was a human or an AI bot. The results? Players guessed correctly only 68% of the time. Think about that. That is barely better than a coin flip. As generative AI becomes more and more advanced, our built-in human radar for detecting synthetic actors is just failing. Which brings us to Section 2, Anonymity and Toxic Keystrokes, the psychological toll. So if bots are taking over the macro-level traffic, what happens on the micro level? Like, what happens to the actual humans who are left navigating this increasingly synthetic, anonymous wasteland? It turns out an internet devoid of verified human presence takes a severe psychological toll on how we interact with one another. To understand why, we look at psychology, specifically the SIDE model. That stands for the Social Identity Model of De-Individuation Effects. This model brilliantly explains that when we're placed in visually anonymous environments, like, say, an unverified comment section, we kind of lose our sense of individual self. Without visual and nonverbal cues, we shed our ordinary social conventions, like basic politeness and civility, and we blindly adhere to tribal group norms instead. The anonymity literally changes our psychology. And we have the data to prove this behavioral shift, too. There's this fascinating study of online Ohio newspaper forums that contrasted 2 environments, one where commenters were completely anonymous, and another where they had to use their identified Facebook profiles. And the results were night and day. The anonymous commenters were significantly more uncivil, impolite, and prone to hurling stereotypes and vitriol. Meanwhile, the Facebook-identified users actively attempted to adhere to standard conversation etiquette. Basically, when the internet feels faceless and dead, the humans left behind become incredibly hostile. Moving on to Section 3, A Crisis of Perception, the Zombie Internet. The crucial point here is that we aren't just dealing with a standard spam problem anymore. If human majorities are shrinking and the remaining humans are acting out because of anonymity, what we are actually facing is a fundamental breakdown of human reality and truth. And this brings us to a phenomenon experts are calling the zombie internet. Think about your own social media feed. You might see a bizarre, hyper-realistic AI-generated image posted by a bot account. Then, thousands of other bot accounts like, share, and comment on it to artificially farm engagement. The algorithms reward this fake engagement and push it right to the top of your feed. It's this weird space where bots, genuine humans, and compromised accounts that used to be human all mingle, but no real connection ever happens. It's just an endless, vicious cycle of synthetic engagement existing entirely for profit. And the consequences of this zombie internet are absolutely devastating, taking a massive epistemic toll on our shared knowledge and truth. First off, studies show that bots amplify misinformation 6 times faster than humans do. 6 times. They're specifically designed to exploit our biases and spark outrage. This leads to the total erosion of democratized information, replacing it with isolated, hyper-personalized echo chambers. Futurist Tracy Follows calls this the rise of Citizen Zero, basically a person living entirely in algorithmic isolation, completely disconnected from a shared human past or a common vision for the future. Which leads us to our final part. Section 4, Surviving the Synthetic Future, Trajectories for 2035. If our shared reality is already fracturing under the weight of automated algorithms right now, where does this leave us in the next decade? Using foresight scenario planning, researchers have mapped out what our world might actually look like by the year 2035. Let's move to and see how this builds. We start today with 51% bot traffic and feeds choked with AI-generated slop. By 2029, researchers project a catastrophic failure of early advanced authentication systems. They're saying even quantum verification won't be able to keep up with synthetic actors. By 2031, the scenario suggests the tragic collapse of public knowledge bases. Just imagine Wikipedia buckling under the sheer weight of millions of coordinated, synthetic, malicious edits, rendering the whole thing totally unreliable. And by 2035, the internet as a unified public square is completely gone. So how do we even adapt in 2035? Well, the research outlines a few stark scenarios. One is called pay for trust, where simply knowing you're interacting with a real human becomes a luxury subscription model that only the wealthy can afford. Another highly likely scenario is the retreat into what they call dark forests. These are highly exclusive, invitation-only digital spaces where trust is built through rigorous social vetting, while the broader public internet is just abandoned as a toxic, bot-infested wasteland. Alternatively, we might see the rise of a community web, where decentralized, crowdsourced networks work together to manually verify truth. But regardless of the path we take, the free, open, and human-led web we all grew up with is transforming into something heavily fortified. And honestly, this brilliantly illustrates the core warning of this entire explainer. I want to read this quote directly from the source material because it captures the existential stakes absolutely perfectly. When the mechanisms through which we establish our realities are systematically manipulated by synthetic actors, traditional anchors for reality determination erode in front of us. We aren't just losing a handy communication tool here, guys. We are losing our shared compass for what is actually real. We've seen how a 2016 internet legend bled into our empirical data, how anonymity breeds hostility, and how the zombie internet threatens to fracture our shared reality completely by 2035. So as we wrap up this explainer and you open up your social media feeds, your news apps, or your comment sections, I want to leave you with one chilling question to carry with you. How many bots did you interact with today? Keep a critical mind out there.